Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Kurt on Cougs, a little post-game cooldown of BYU versus Oklahoma State. And first of all, that was bad. That was awful. Yeah, not good at all. I don't think any of us are having fun right now. This was not a fun night in the slightest. It was a very bad night for the Cougars on both the men's and the women's team. So we'll dive right on in. First of all, the women's team, since their game finished earlier, I'll talk about their game. And ultimately in this game, they get destroyed on the boards. 18 more boards to the Jayhawks, who end up winning this game by 21. Ultimately as well, BYU just did not have a dominant score in this one. Brinley Cannon had another good game, scoring 13. But outside of her, there were only two other players scoring in double digits, and they scored 10 and 11. So just no one really stepped up in this game. In the meantime, Kansas had a player that went off for 28, so you just can't play that way and expect to win. So tough loss on the road. Ultimately, I don't think it knocks them out of out of the tournament picture, but it definitely knocks them down a notch, at least for the time being. So tough loss there. Still, though, I have hope. I think they can bounce back this Saturday against Kansas. Jumping over to the men's team. Yeah, honestly, I have not seen BYU play this badly in a game since, I don't know, maybe the loss to TCU last year. This is a really bad loss. Worst game of the season by far. A lot of the bit problems I saw there, for one thing, I feel like, lots of sloppy play, lots of just pure sloppiness. They turned the ball over 16 times in this one. Now look, some of those turnovers, great plays by Oklahoma State. And once again, credit to Oklahoma State. They played a good game tonight. But ultimately, I would say this game's result tonight is more just shows how badly BYU has been playing and a lot less about the way Oklahoma State played. Like, BYU really put themselves in a terrible position in this one. Lots of just sloppy plays, dribbling it off your foot, things like that. Not good at all. Ultimately on the offensive end of things, AJ ends up carrying, especially towards the end. He finishes this game with 36 points. Rob Wright and Richie Saunders combined for 35 more points. So once again, the big three steps up. But I feel like the lack of depth on this team is really showing. I don't know. I really just miss last season having guys like Mag and Stewart and Baker who could come off the bench, add a spark, kind of added different elements to the team's offense and defense, honestly. But this year, it feels like we're not really seeing that. I feel like BYU does have guys that can come off the bench and can do that, but none of them are really stepping up into that role yet. And also, once again, the slow start. The slow start is not good. Now, ultimately, BYU recovered towards the end of the first half, made a great comeback to be tied at the break. But the truth is, I still have to think, if BYU had just started this game decently, not even amazingly, but if they at least hadn't gone down 15 early, how could that have affected them in the long term? How could they have maybe perhaps been able to come away with a victory? So, once again, you can't start slow, especially in the Big 12. We saw it a lot before conference play, and they were able to get away with it a few times, even against really good teams like Clemson. But that just isn't working in the Big 12. They need to figure out how to get off to a faster start. This is rough. And then, last of all, defense. Defense was terrible tonight. Early on, it felt like Oklahoma State was just hitting every shot. They were shooting amazingly. But ultimately, even when they cooled down shooting, BYU just penetration was so easy. Like, no one guarding their paths to the hoop. Pretty fundamental stuff. And it was bad. It was really bad. I am not happy about this at all. Now, of course, though, you guys know me. I like to be optimistic, and I still am pretty optimistic. At this point, things don't feel good. This is looking like a team that I would expect to, honestly, with the way that it looked tonight, maybe an overreaction, but I think this is a team that could slide down into an 8-9 matchup, which, of course, would be hugely disappointing, especially considering this is by far the best team on paper BYU has ever put together. So, tough loss. Ultimately, though, I feel like this team does have the pieces to get things put together. Like, here's the deal. When this team is hot, they are hot. They are almost impossible to beat. If this team puts together a full 40 minutes, I think they can be anywhere in the country. Now, have they shown they can do that yet? No, and I feel like they need to prove that first. But they have that potential there. I feel like also, once again, guys off the bench, guys like Diamande, guys like Boskovic, guys like Boop. Honestly, I feel like Boop has started to contribute pretty well. He's hit a couple threes. He plays some good, solid defense. Yeah. Also, guys like Russ, Kostic, shooters off the bench. I feel like if they can step in, if they can start to make a difference, Vito could make more of a difference down in the post. Yeah, I feel like these are all guys that are kind of just trying to find their role at this point. And I feel like it's very possible this team can turn things around. They can still get up to a 4 or maybe even a 3 seed if they can pull off an upset here and there. But a lot of changes are gonna need to be made. Hopefully this is a point where things start to turn around. It's tough though. On Saturday you got to play against number 8 Houston at home. Unless there's a really special performance, I expect them honestly to lose that one, which in my opinion makes next week very important. You have a game at Baylor, then a game at home in Colorado. Going 2-0 next week could be the key. So yeah, trying to maintain any momentum whatsoever for the season. So that's my reaction for tonight. It's a tough one. Ultimately though, life goes on, and always gotta love the Cougs.